therapy is not for men. And there's plenty of valid reasons for men to instead turn to the modern role models of masculinity and success. And yes, even the ones you consider to be toxic. Let me explain. The industries of academia, mental health, and psychology are dominated by women, especially talk therapy. And let's be real with the times. The current popular social narrative, especially in the worlds of academia and mental health, is that men are the bad guys and the world is all patriarchal systems created by men for men, built upon the necks of women. There's a certain atmosphere today that whispers that the world would be a better place without men. Furthermore, even the American Psychological Association, who calls the shots on training and education, have come out with statements recently claiming that there are no major differences between men and women. And while we all have similar needs for connection and safety as human beings, our biology, conditioning, and expectations that greatly impact our psychology, well-being, and experiences are generally very different. I think it is a false and harmful and frankly insidious agenda or narrative as the pendulum swings. It is powerful to be able to relate, resonate, and connect to your therapist, coach, or mentor. This creates safety. It's powerful to be able to look up to the person you are seeking guidance from as the type of person that you admire, wish to emulate, and would follow into battle, physical or not. And the amount of mental health professionals that fall into that category for men, especially of the more masculine, conservative, and traditional leaning type, are scarce, which is a reason why more of these primal masculinity retreats all around the world are becoming increasingly popular amongst men looking for a place to work on themselves and find community and connection. I was talking about my own experience with therapy the other day, and while I stand by it being incremental in turning my life around, and I think everyone should seek counsel, coaching, and therapy throughout their life, I also discovered that after shopping around for a few sessions, I needed to speak to a man, to explore vulnerability with a man. There were parts of me, doors I had closed off in my heart around manhood, masculinity, my relationship with my father, etc. Areas that I needed to navigate with a man that I respected and saw as the type of man I could aspire to. A hardworking family man who could be both stereotypically masculine, sports, guns, and riding motorcycles into the sunset, but also have the difficult conversations around the affairs of the heart. Now, it's not a perfect analogy for the concept of seeking out somebody that commands that level of power and respect so you can follow in their footsteps with a sense of safety, but I am reminded of the viral videos of Anatoli, an elite powerlifter who dresses up as an unsuspecting janitor at the gym and shocks the egos, judgment, and skepticism of alpha men twice his size with feats of strength far beyond theirs. Do you imagine that such bodybuilders would seek out Anatoli to learn from him if they passed him in the street? No, of course not. They would need to see his credentials in the display of his strength first. And is this wrong? No, it's human. And I think this also goes for men when they are looking for mentorship or men to look up to and emulate, especially if they didn't have much access to examples of healthy male role models growing up. If you were lost in the wilderness looking for food and direction, would you not gravitate towards somebody who comes into the picture with a lot of resources, a compass, and the loudest sense of direction, even if they were leading you towards a cliff? Absolutely you would. As such, I understand why we gravitate towards certain role models. And I can also understand and empathize and even relate to the notion of why the hell would I sit and talk to a woman or anyone for that matter about my problems and woes and fears as a man? Will that solve my struggle? No. Is it not far more solution-oriented to instead take action and follow the lead of the most successful, powerful, and influential man I can find, for better or for worse? Of course, I'm going to opt to follow the men who stir my blood with unapologetic ambition and solutions, instead of those who encourage me to open up and complain about my life and allow myself to be the victim. Of course, I'm going to opt to follow the men who say to stop apologizing for being a man, to go out and make money, to go to the gym, to get fit, get strong, increase your status, become successful. Men will line up for this call to action because it diagnoses a very real pain point for men and a lack of purpose and apathy and masculinity today. And it also offers a powerful prescription. And let's not pretend that it's not powerful. Face the facts. For example, science indicates unequivocally that women are highly attracted to men with status across all cultures. So if a man wants to feel better about what he sees in the mirror, the fastest way possible to do that, to feel safer in his own skin, to feel like he is worth something in the world, how can you argue against status? How can you tell a man to sit in a room and talk about his feelings and traumas and fears and then go back home to his hamster wheel rather than to get up, go out, get muscles, and get money? Human beings struggle to face their vulnerabilities or create any sort of change in their lives if they don't feel safe and secure enough to do so. And for a lot of men, they will not feel safe and secure within themselves if they do not feel like they meet the physical and financial expectations of manhood. And so, of course, at face value, we'll prioritize the safety and security and access to women that fitness, finances, and status provides over emotional exploration and expression. There is an expectation of success, status, and provision that places pressure and requirements on men and also rewards them in a way that women do not experience. What's more, by all scientific metrics, women are attracted to physical strength, status, wealth, and ambition, and the chart is linear. The less a man has of these things, the less valuable he is societally and relationally as a man. So it's no coincidence that these are the areas men lean into first and foremost when they are building themselves up to create self-worth, identity, and emotional safety. Ultimately, I think it's also important to recognize that while these external things are the fastest route to tangible change, they open a lot of doors, but they do not build homes. I do think that women are more geared than men to talk, and men are more geared than women to walk. And nothing against women, but they are hardwired in a way that men are not. Generally speaking, women can connect and feel more empowered and validated from verbal expression alone and feel safer exploring and sharing their emotional vulnerabilities and traumas than men. So should we also hold men to those same expectations? In fact, maybe men need more space, more patience, and more support in order to be able to feel safe emotionally. And yet there are far less resources available for men's mental health, and many men continue to attest that emotional vulnerability in relationships is nothing more than a one-way ticket to ridicule, rejection, and a loss of respect. I am excited to see the frontier of men's mental health continue to evolve and move through its current growing pains, and I often wonder who will be the next champion of men's empowerment. I think this conversation is important, though not only just to recognize a few of the mental health obstacles that men face today, but also to touch on how the solutions for many men won't be found in a book or in a conversation in an office, but instead will be found on the jiu-jitsu mat, in the gym, on the side of the mountain, in camaraderie, in community, in the blood, sweat, and tears of sacrifice, in seeking purpose and faith, in seeking out mentorship, in men who choose to take up the mantle and stand as fathers to the fatherless, as role models for their brothers, to lead by example and be the type of men that they would entrust with their daughters and their sisters and their mothers, the type of men who plant trees in whose shade they know that they will never sit. And that, my friends, is just a few of the reasons why I currently think that